Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Trifecta. As you can see, we're missing one of our legs to the tripod. Kind of feel unbalanced right now. This is my first time, hosting for this, so bear with me. Please, bear with me. How you doing today, Tom?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. It stinks that we can't have Jared here on the show, but we're looking out for him. We're glad that he's doing okay, and we're look forward to having him back on the show. I mean, this is gonna be it. We joked about it before the show started. This is either gonna be a really good episode or a really bad one. So no
Who
one
knows?
knows exactly, man. Who knows? We're gonna have fun with it, though. We're gonna have fun with it.
As always, I'm doing well. Um, still haven't got a haircut yet. Probably won't happen anytime soon since we're back on lockdown. But you know what? We still in the game. We still got to
For sure,
play.
man. Gotta grind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's talk a little bit of about the NBA today, man. A lot has been going on with the NBA all season. There was the draft. There was, NBA free agency is happening right now. So let's touch on the draft right quick. Um, what was some of the biggest names and moves and places that caught your attention with the draft?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot that went on here. I mean, I think we kind of knew the top three going in. It was either going to be Edwards, Wiseman, and Lamelo Ball, and they kind of went that way. It went Edwards, Wiseman, Ball. I think the biggest takeaway is not only is the fact that we've had such a quick off season because of how quickly the season ended. How far away ago it ended in the finals, but also just like I mean, man, we're just gearing up for a quick season coming up. I mean, the season's only a month away, which is really surprising. We're starting on December 22nd this year for I think it's a 72 game season. I want to say. But yeah, big news coming out of Golden State. Klay Thompson down with an Achilles injury, and now they pick up James Wiseman, center out of Memphis. I like that pick a lot, man. I know they still
Mhm.
got Wiggins. Steph Curry's still going to be Steph Curry. I think they can shock some teams. I think they're going to be a solid team in the West this year. Obviously, I don't think they're going to take it too far. You got a lot of teams with, the Denver Nuggets, of course, the defending champion Lakers. Portland's going to be good, but I think they could be a team that could, give a nice first round upset.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually think they're gonna do a little bit more than what you're giving them. Wiseman again. Great pick, right? I thought they were gonna overthink the pick because Clay got hurt. They didn't really know the time frame on Clay, and I thought they were gonna go Lamelo if they overdid their part on that one. But they made the right decision for their team. They needed an inside presence, and I think with time, Wiseman can really show his value, right? He had a lot going on with the NCAA, taking money from his coach, everything like that. So I know he has something to prove, right? Now, how good he's actually going to be his first couple years, is yet to be seen. It takes big men a little while to get into the rhythm of the game, right? Um, it's no longer, you know, just back somebody down, drop step, dunk, right? It's always about space and pace. So I really want to see how he does in the pick and roll, pick and pop game with, the greatest shooter of all time, right? Um, he has, a veteran in the front court to help him really improve defensively. So I would love to see, that maturation period on the defensive end for Wiseman. He's pretty versatile.
Yeah,
He can score inside, can shoot the midi. I just want to see how being around that coaching staff, that culture of winning, everything like that. I want to see how it worked out for him because he didn't get to play a lot with the NCAA regulations and all of that. Um, One of the biggest names that popped out to me in places was Obi Toppin. Um,
yes,
I wanted the Bulls to pick Obi Toppin fourth. We needed a forward anyway. He's not the best defensively, right lateral movement, but the man gets buckets, bro.
yeah.
Like he gets buckets. He's highlight box office. I would have loved to see the Bulls get that, bring some more excitement back to the city, but they went with the forward out of Florida.
Dayton.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
was in Florida, right? He came out. I think his name is. Hold on, right quick.
Oh, you're. I sorry. I was thinking
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Toppin. Yeah, 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 yeah. My
yeah,
bad.
yeah. Yeah. We picked.
They got Williams.
Yeah, Patrick Williams, right? Um, I don't know a lot about this kid. And there's a lot of sources saying that we picked the undrafted free agent number 4. There's also sources saying that he has Jimmy Butler's work ethic. He can kind of be that type of player to impact the game on multiple levels. So I'm hoping for the best. I don't know whether to be happy, be sad, anything like that. But man, Obi Toppin would have been nice. But he's in his hometown.
Yeah.
New York, New York, New York. I don't know if you seen Stephen A's take on that pick. It was
Yes.
hilarious, bro. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
And that's the thing is I know a lot of Knicks fans, a lot of even Stephen A. Smith himself included, wanted Tyrese Halliburton, a nice shooting guard. That would have been a really good compliment to that team. But I like this pick of Obi Toppin. I think that you said it best. I mean, the dude just gets buckets. You look at a lot of these small school guys who kind of take their team and lead them to, you know,
Hmm.
being a big team. Dayton is not normally a big team. I think they're coming out of the Atlantic 10 conference. They're not a big team. They made some noise last year in the March Madness tournament. Think back to what Steph Curry did with Davidson. I mean, Steph Curry wasn't really anything. He gets drafted by Golden State, and he's, like you said, the best shooter in possibly the world, of all time. I like this kid. I think he can space the floor a lot. He can get
Hmm.
buckets, which is the best thing you want to do. And for New York, you need guys who can put up points. New York has been historically bad the past few seasons in putting up points. Obviously, their defense isn't much better, but New York has not had a consistent scorer since Carmelo left. Not Lamelo. He's on the G League. No, but wait, am I
Yeah, no,
Steve?
he's not in the G League, my
No,
guy.
no, Lamelo
He
just
got
got drafted.
drafted. He just
Man,
got
I get all of them messed up.
the ball. From
LiAngelo is in the G League. That's right. He's with Detroit or something. Yeah, man. I like this pick of Obi Toppin. I think he's going to turn out really well. I still think the Knicks are far and away a few years from being a contender, but I think this is a nice piece. I think they've had a couple of good drafts the past few years. They've picked up some solid players, and that's the thing. I think the biggest thing in the NBA is roster continuity. You want to have players who can be on your team and be pieces for many years. Obviously, you can't control free agency and all that. Look at Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They have Draymond Green too. They've had him for a while. Look at these teams that have had players who have been on their teams
hmm
for a long time. They're consistently good. Even going back to the old days, Pippen and
Yep,
Jordan were on the same team for
yep,
all 6 finals. That's a reason. There's a reason for that because they built that team chemistry. They built everything together. So it may not be a flashy pick. A lot of people, like I said, wanted Tyrese Halliburton, but I think this is a good pick for New York. I think he's going to do some wonders for that team and help them, draw in that free agency market that they've been lacking for
yeah,
the past 5 6 years.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I kind of joke where I was like, oh, that's Zion's replacement. High flyer, oop getter, all of that. And I was joking about how that was a Zion like pacifier pick for them, for their fan base. But you make a great point, right? He can bring that allure for free agents to come to New York. Um, I do think, however, they needed a guard. They have a stable of fours there. Somebody has to go. Somebody's going to be odd man out. Um, and I'm pretty sure that Obi Toppin might not be given the keys right away. You feel me? Just because they have a lot of depth in that position, they're kind of gonna let him, test the waters and get his feet wet, teach him how to swim a little bit, all of that. Um, how
But you
can
also
we how can we talk about the draft and not talk about Lamelo Ball?
Lamelo, not LiAngelo. They're two different people.
Two different people, right?
One's in the league, one's in the G League. It's different, man. My bad on that one.
For real, for real. Again, I wish he would have slid to four. Bulls need somebody like that. You know, a name, just a name. He can score the ball. He's a pretty good facilitator. Offensive juggernaut, right? Uh, I think he's gonna do good things. Good things with the Hornets. You know, he's gonna oop it up to Miles Bridges. That's gonna be a fan favorite. Looking forward to seeing him in that rookie All Star game. Um, maybe, maybe rookie of the year. That's a big maybe because
Really?
it's a big maybe because you know his team is not
Not.
that good, bro. So he's gonna have to be a my player out there on the court.
I mean, they did just get Gordon Hayward today, signed that big $120 million contract, which is ridiculous. Which also makes me sad because there's so many rumors that he was coming back to Indiana, where he's from. I was hoping that would happen. But yeah, man, I like LaMelo. I think he's good. But
I
my
think he's
only
good.
problem is the team he got drafted by. I mean,
Yep.
Jordan, as much as I love him, Jordan's the best player of all time in my opinion. He is not good at drafting prospects. He has had some full stinkers on under his watch. So, I'm interested to see that. I'm also interested to see the dynamic of course, they have LeVar Ball there now. So he's going to be a
Oh
big
yeah.
a big factor. They've always LeVar said that he can beat him one on one. Maybe we can
Must
get
watch
that.
TV.
Maybe we can get that as a halftime show. If there's ever fans back, LeVar versus Michael. Game of 21 in the
Hilarious, bro.
halftime.
Hilarious, hilarious. Definitely must watch TV. LeVar Ball is just he just needs a
He's
camera
something.
crew to follow him everywhere he goes.
But you do have to give him credit though. For
Yeah,
he's the first brother duo to ever be drafted in the top three. I mean, as we said, LiAngelo's in the G League. He's got all of his sons in the league, and
yeah.
that's saying something. That is not easy to do. So, yeah, he may talk a lot of BS, but he definitely set his sons up really well to succeed, and so I'll give him credit for that.
For sure, for sure. You touched on that Gordon Hayward move. Let's switch up to free agency a bit, right? Um, One of the most shocking news that I got today was Montrezl Harrell.
Yes.
Wow, wow! I did not know he was gonna switch up on the Clippers like that. Like he didn't have to do him that dirty. He went to the Lakers, which is that LA rivalry. I think it's gonna ramp up that rivalry. I do think that was a big pickup for the Lakers. They lost Dwight, and Montrez is just a younger version. He's not as dominant, not as big, but he's definitely an energizer bunny. He gets it done. Six man of the year. He gets it done. So big pickup for the Lakers.
Yeah, I forget who else they got. I know they got Harrell. I'm pretty sure they signed Wesley Matthews as well. And then they signed, oh man, this he was runner up to sixth man of the year. I got to figure it out.
I don't know. Runner up to six man. I don't know. I always think six man is Lou Will, bro.
Yeah, that's
If he's not six
jeez.
man, he's definitely
Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Dennis
Yeah, the
Schroeder.
Wiggins Schroeder.
Yeah,
The
man.
Wiggins Schroeder. That was
That
big.
is that is a good. I mean, the rich get richer, man. It's going to be a scary team to watch. I'm surprised that they're getting as much pieces as they are. I mean, Harrell, like you said, that's a big piece. I
That
mean, the
was a
dude,
big piece.
the dude dominated last year with the Clippers. I think he's going to come in and be a really good piece for LBJ and Anthony Davis to work off of. And then you got a bench shooter in Wesley Matthews. He hasn't had the best few years since he left Dallas, but he had a pretty good year last year. He was a pretty consistent scorer coming off the bench for Milwaukee. And then of course you got Schroeder. I mean, that kid can just flat out play.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a smaller Patrick Beverly, maybe just
Mhm.
without a little bit of the defensive intensity. I mean, Schroeder can do a lot of good things on that court. He can space the floor. He's a good facilitator. He's a good shooter. He can get to the basket, and he can play pretty good defense. So I think they got a really good deal right there. It's going to be hard to pick against the Lakers to not only
Yeah,
represent the Western Conference but also win the NBA Finals next year.
I totally agree with you. I think they might be winning free agency right now.
Which
They
is almost like a death sentence, especially in sports. You never want to be
man,
the winners of free agency or the draft.
unless you're coming off a championship,
That's true.
because they're checking all the boxes that they need. Like, man, it's actually pretty impressive what the GM is doing there. Um, Another big move was the Bucks. The
Yeah,
Bucks, man, Drew Holiday is something that they definitely need, right? They need someone to, facilitate, shoot the ball. They need space, 3-and-D player, and that's what Drew Holiday, gives you.
I got to ask you about that because not only did they sign Drew Holiday, they also traded for Bogdanovich before
hmm
that trade went down.
hmm
Before that trade got scrapped? Do you think Bogdan is the kind of player you surround Giannis with Drew Holiday, and if they do end up pulling off this deal, I mean, do you think that that's enough to keep Giannis there? Or do you think he's still gonna walk away?
I think he still walks away, right? Test out, other lawns. The grass seems greener on the other side most of the time, but they're making an effort.
Yeah,
Right, they're making a tremendous effort to not only keep him there but improve the team. Like what they really went after with Bogdan was shooting.
yeah,
They need space, especially because Giannis cannot shoot the ball. He's the only superstar that I really just. I wouldn't say I don't like him because I love his passion. I love that he's a get it done player. But bro, you gotta get more moves. You can't just Euro step, this step your way to the bucket, especially during playoff basketball. So what does that do? You bring in Bogdanovich. Now he's one of those shooters, those specialists, right?
yeah,
The type of pieces that you put around LeBron. Just sit in the corner, wait for the ball to come to your hand, and pull it.
yeah.
That's
It'll.
what, that's what they
I'm
got
sorry.
with him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they can actually pull off that trade. I don't remember why it got canned for the moment, but yeah, I gotta agree with you. I don't know if that's enough to keep Giannis. I think Giannis knows that there's teams that want him that will pay him that super max that'll give
hmm
him surround him with really good talent. I mean, we saw the same with Kawhi Leonard when he vaulted from Toronto. He
hmm
said, "Look, I'll come join your team if you go out and get me my friend and another star in the league in Paul George." Obviously, that didn't work out in their favor this past year, but there's teams that are willing to do that to not only be near the top of the league in wins, but also be near the top of the league in relevancy. It is
Yeah,
tough to stay relevant in the NBA. I mean, there's so many moving pieces. You
yeah.
don't got a 53 man roster. You got 15 players on your team. So I think they did a good job. Hopefully they can pull off that trade and get Bogdanovich. I saw that they just brought in Bobby Portis from New York, the Knicks. I think
hmm
that's another good deal. I think he's a good bench player. I think he averaged 10 points somewhere
Yeah.
around that range last year.
Bobby
So
Buster, man.
it'll be
Bobby
interesting.
Buster for sure. For some reason, that man finds a way to put the ball in the rim.
Yeah, man.
He was a long time bull. I actually liked him. I thought he was going to get more playing time, but we just kept, just like New York, stacking up for it, bro. Stacking up front court players. And his time, expired with the Bulls. But Bobby Portis is one of those guys that just is a baller. Like
Yeah,
if you're playing pickup basketball, you need him on your team because not only is he going to get buckets, but he's going to at least try on the
yeah.
defensive end. You feel
I,
me?
I I want to go back to something that we were talking about earlier. We are talking about the Knicks. You're a Bulls fan. You've seen
hmm
it. What do you think of them bringing in Thibodeau? Thibodeau's their new coach. We saw him work with Minnesota.
I love Tibbs.
Yeah,
I love Tibbs, but for a rookie loaded like young team, I don't see it gelling well. Tibbs doesn't really like rookies like that. He's, for lack of a better term, a slave driver. His players play thousands of minutes, right? And the only person that really liked it was Jimmy Butler. Like
Yeah.
he's a workhorse. So I don't know, man. I don't know if that coach is going to change a lot with Tibbs. They'll probably play better defense because that's his expertise. But as far as player continuity, that player coach relationship, it's going to be rocky. It's going to be rocky. I hope he doesn't wear Obi Toppin's you know tires down. Uh, but man, I don't know. It's kind of. I hope it's not that oil and water mix. I hope it's not. I love Tibbs. He brought Bulls basketball into relevancy. Uh, went far with him, but young team. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, man. And my biggest thing is, and I get it, it's tough to coach in these leagues. Obviously, it's not a job that I could do. But when you're in a billion-dollar organization, especially one as good with a history as good as the Knicks, they're in the Mecca city of the world, or
Hmm.
at least in the country in New York, they got eyes on them all over. They have had one, two, three, four, five, seven coaches since 2014. Fisher, Kurt Rambis, Jeff Hornacek, David Fizdale, Mike Miller, and now Tom Thibodeau. You
Hmm.
cannot do that, you know, and be successful. Look
Yeah.
at the teams that have, again, going back to the Bulls. I know we're having a Bulls centric episode just for you. I mean,
Hey
they
man, I got a chance to be the host. I gotta have fun, bro.
had. But they had Phil Jackson. They had consistency at the coaching position, and they won for a reason. You look at teams that have done the same. Red Auerbach back in, even going farther back with the Celtics. I mean, there are coaches that or teams that have shown if you can keep your coach and build a roster around him instead of building your coach around your roster and putting in new guys, oh, this part doesn't work, let's put it in this way. It works in the same way in the NFL.
Yep.
You can't Bill Belichick has been the model of consistency, and
Yep.
he's having one of his off years, and they're, I want to say, 2 games out of the playoffs. I mean, that's what tells you that having that consistency at the head coach position, the front office matters. It's a whole team too. It's not just the players on the court, it's
Yeah.
everybody. And if you don't have that consistency, you're not going to be successful. So, man, Thibodeau is going to have to do work his ass off to not get fired, because this is the kind of team that needs development time. They need to have that
Yeah.
consistency on a roster, on the coaching staff. They need to build chemistry and build relationships with each other. And then you'll finally see that New York Knicks team that we've been so accustomed to in our lives. It's been always there. Maybe not championship level, but they've always been in the
At least
playoffs. They've
relevant.
always been a level. Yeah, they're relevant. That's the
At
that's the
least
best word to do.
relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they haven't been that for years. And so I
Just
don't know if
Melo.
I can say I expect
Just
it, but
Melo.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Thibodeau can do, because Thibodeau is a good coach. Thibodeau
Yeah.
does have, he's got the success to show it, but man, he's going to need to keep some of that consistency going if he wants to keep his job.
Yeah. I would even like to see the Knicks, hold on to him during the rebuild, like Philly did with Brown.
Yeah,
You know, he was losing, but they stayed the course. They trusted the process. As corny as that sounded,
they did it, man.
they trusted the process. You think about it, like you said, consistency with the coaching staff and the front office. Look at Eric Spoelstra in the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
The man found a way to win this year, not because he had LeBron James, not because you know everybody else was sick, because that was not the case. It was because that culture, that Miami Heat culture, seeps into their players' bloods. It just does, and they buy in. They buy in with consistency. I kind of don't like when superstars like Darren Williams was known for this, right? He was a coach firer.
yeah,
There's something about the coach that's gone the next day, right? I kind of don't like how much power that superstars have with that. But again, you have consistency, it works.
yeah,
Just to keep the Chicago thing going a little bit, right? With the Bears, we had Lovey Smith. Lovie Smith didn't really lose, right? He had a good winning record.
Yeah.
Even when we were not in the playoffs, we
They
were
weren't
winning.
flashy, but they won consistently. They were a
We were
good team.
winning,
They kept consistent. And
right?
that's funny because I was just actually about to bring up the Packers with Mike McCarthy. Packers won that Super Bowl back in 2010. They haven't made it to one since, but McCarthy just lost his job a few years ago because they were winning.
Hmm.
They didn't have the best, culture. Rodgers and him didn't always get along, but they won games, and that's the thing. Is that consistency really helps out teams.
It really does. It keeps the game plan steady,
Yeah,
right? Even if the week to week game plan changes, the way they prepare don't change,
yeah. And
right?
when you're bringing in, and this is my thing, the Drew Lock. I know I'm bringing up Drew Lock now because of
It's
course I
cool.
got to bring up the Broncos, but
Let's have fun. It's cool.
for sure, man. He didn't have a good game last week, that's for sure. But when you're bringing in so many different coordinators and he's getting used to so many different offenses and getting used to all these new, it's different when you're bringing in players. He's got a good young offense around him, but when you're bringing in, they had Rich Gangarello as the offensive coordinator last year. They changed it up to a completely different offense this
Hmm.
year with Pat Shermer.
Hmm.
That's not easy for a rookie quarterback. He's still in his rookie year. If you look at the games he's played, there have been teams like that who have tried to change the culture, try to change the offense, try to bring in a different mind, and it just doesn't work like that. It's not.
Yeah,
You
bro.
can't. You can't. I think teams try to look at it, and of course I understand it. Teams try to look at it in a, okay, we need to win this year. We're only going to focus on this year. But if you look at the successful teams, the Packers, like over history, Packers, Bears, Patriots, they have been, what can we do for the next 10 years? What
Yeah,
is our outlook looking like for the next decade? How
yeah.
can we be successful over that time? And that's why they're successful. That's why they're the teams that are the most relevant, that are the teams representing, their conference in the playoffs. It's almost maddening to see these teams that have so much talent. My biggest, and that's we can jump into the NFL whenever. The Dolphins. I mean, the Miami Dolphins with what they brought in with Brian Flores. That is a culture changer. They
Man,
let him
180.
be awful. They were terrible last year. They let him ride
180.
with, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like so many people bash them, myself included, for changing to Tua. After having Fitzpatrick start off pretty well for what they're doing, he's only gone out and won what 4 straight games. They're in the
Yep.
thick of the playoff hunt. They're probably going to get a win tomorrow against Denver. I mean, that is a good team because they let the coach get consistent with the players,
Hmm.
build relationships with them, and everybody bought in. That's the kind of thing. You brought up
Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra. Jimmy Butler bought into his thing, got everybody around him to buy into not only Jimmy
Wow.
Butler's, yeah,
Yeah.
and they were successful making it
Yeah.
to, I said that they were going to push it to 6. They did push it to 6. That's
Hmm.
crazy. They shouldn't have been in that position, honestly, if you look at it from the beginning of the season.
For
But
real.
they did. That's a culture thing, and I think a lot of teams overlook that, the fact that
Yeah.
yes, the players can do everything on the court or on the field, but it's a whole organization for a reason. Everybody from top to bottom needs to be consistent.
I mean, dare I say it? Dare I say it? The Browns are suffering from this
Yeah,
tremendously. Why? Like Baker had a decent rookie season.
yeah.
Why change the head coach and the coordinator while he's, like not only learning but seeing success
Yeah.
from what he's learning? I
Third
get it.
year, third coach, man.
But come on, man. Come on. This is a notice for every GM, aspiring GM. If you coach your daughters and Pop Warner, anything, right? Like consistency.
Yeah, man.
Key, man. Consistency. It's
It,
all
it,
about the culture.
look, sometimes that culture doesn't always pan out. Look at Houston with Bill
Hmm.
O'Brien. That's not a good culture. They kept him around for a while. Now look at them. Even if you, yes, their record doesn't stand out, but if you watch them play, ever since Bill O'Brien was fired and they're playing under Romeo Crennel, It's a completely different team. They're enjoying the game. They're having fun. They're in the games, actually. They're not getting blown out every time.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're not the best team overall, but they got pieces. They got still have pieces to build around. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's one of the best young one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Will Fuller is still there. I'm honestly surprised they didn't trade him to Green Bay, but
Thank
it's
God.
neither here nor there because Green
Thank
Bay
God.
is. We were talking about how good of a franchise Green
Woo.
Bay is, but they don't like to trade for players that would obviously help them. That's again neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, yes, there are times where that consistency doesn't work out, but the wins way outweigh the losses. I mean, there's keys to success, keys to consistency that other teams have shown that some teams are just reluctant to try. They just don't want to do it. You know, they just don't want
Yeah,
to. They don't want to try it, and that's where you bring up those teams like the Cleveland Browns. You know, the even Tennessee's been building a great culture with Mike Vrabel. You know, you build that through everybody on the team, front to bottom or top to bottom, trying to build that consistency. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of teams that are out there that still that it's just mad. It's maddening to see how much talent they have, but they're so adamant on changing everything right when
yeah,
their year doesn't go well. And so this was an overarching topic talking about the
yeah,
Knicks and the stuff, but yeah, I really do think if Thibodeau gets a few years there, they continue their draft success that they've had, let guys like Toppin, build. I think they're going to have a lot of good success in the coming years and get back to being that team.
for sure, for sure. Everything is about what have you done for me now,
Yeah,
and that's hurt a lot of organizations throughout all sports, right? But let's change gears a little bit. We kind of touched on the NFL without what's that word? That transition word? I forgot it. I forgot it. I had it in my head. But we kind of
changing the subject.
yeah, we kind of transitioned into the NFL. I know you were saying that there's a lot of good games. There's also a lot of you know bad games as well. What
Yeah,
what are
man.
you, what are you looking for? Well, what matchups are you looking at for this week?
Man, we get a really good one to start off. The Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens
Woo!
playing in Baltimore. Tennessee is coming off an awful game. They got dominated in that second half against Indianapolis on Thursday night. Coming off 10 days rest, though, I think it's going to be a good one, man. Baltimore
Yeah,
has struggled recently. Baltimore's offense is kind of they're getting picked up. That read option offense let let everybody run around. They got Dobbins, they got Ingram back there, Gus Edwards. Now people are forcing Lamar Jackson to
yeah,
throw. This is
yeah.
something that I said at the beginning of
You did,
my time on here.
you
I said
did.
you force Lamar into these big game situations where he has to throw it. It's a 50-50 chance whether or not he's going to end up winning that game for you. We saw that with the game against Pittsburgh. This is going to be a good one. This is a big game here. This has got some
Mhm.
playoff implications on it. Tennessee's trying to fight back for that um, division spot, that division lead, and Baltimore's still trying to stay in it with Pittsburgh. They got them coming up next week on another good game Thursday
I think
night.
that's the
Thanks.
game. I think that's the game that Pittsburgh loses.
Really, you think so?
I
Yeah,
think
that'll be a
so.
good one, man. Thanksgiving night. That'll be a really good one. But yeah, that's a really good one to start off the day. I think the Falcons Saints game. I want to get your opinion on this. I wasn't intrigued at the beginning, but now the Falcons have been playing pretty well, and
Yeah,
the Saints decide to go with Taysom Hill at quarterback, not Jameis Winston.
I think that's a bad move.
Do you think that is because Taysom Hill? Sean Payton has been telling us Taysom Hill is the next Steve Young. He can do everything. He's just that kind of player. Or is it that is it the fact that yeah we're just overlooking Taysom Hill, or is it the fact that man Jameis Winston must be looking pretty bad in practice to not get the starting job over Taysom Hill?
Nah, I think it's the former. I think that they want to actually see what they have with Taysom Hill. The curtain is starting to close in on Drew Brees a little bit. I think they want to see what he can do. He's been on the team as a utility guy for a while now. Like my man's is listed as a tight end in fantasy. How, bro?
Who knows, man? He gets a lot of
Bro.
points though.
Who picked him up in Back Sports Page League? Somebody picked him up. and they're about to get it like a ton of tight end points, and I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that is
sure.
unfair. But I really just think that they want to see, if he has the stuff, because Jameis doesn't look like a long term decision for them.
Yeah.
I think
It,
that they might go quarterback in the next couple of drafts, like just to have somebody hold the clipboard next to Drew Brees if Taysom Hill fails the test, right? If he
yeah.
passes, they're gonna start ushering in that new era of Saints football, right?
Yeah, I think this fits that offense really well. Obviously, they have Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
Kamara's one of the
Do
top.
it all.
I think he is the best back in the league.
Do
Not
it all.
named Christian McCaffrey.
Do it
He can
all.
do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like you said, do it all. I think this plays to that offense. Taysom Hill is he's not going to get you a lot of deep balls, but he can really work that short to intermediate game. Michael Thomas is the best slant runner in the entire league over the
Yep.
last 3 years. That really opens up that offense. You got a nice safety valve in Jared Cook at tight end. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders, who's another good separator at the offensive line. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I think this is very low risk, high reward because if he
Yep.
doesn't work out, you're playing a bad defense in Atlanta. Atlanta's been good on the offensive side these last few weeks since they brought in their interim coach and Raheem Morris, but their defense still isn't, anything special. So you do this run heavy offense, you're going to pound the rock. That's my fantasy advice for the week. Start Alvin Kamara. I know that's kind of stupid because he's always a start,
Yeah,
but
bro.
I think he's going to be I think he's going to have a game tomorrow, honestly.
He definitely is.
But if he doesn't work out, if then you switch to Jameis. IR Drew Brees is on the IR for at least the next 3 weeks. You got a 2 week, evaluation of Jameis, who completely changes the offense. That moves it from a run heavy offense to a let's chuck the ball deep, get it into that medium 15, 20
Mm-hmm.
yard passing game. And again, that they have the offense that can make that work. So I'm interested to see. I've always liked Taysom Hill. I liked him as that utility kind of player. He kind of reminds me of what I think Tim Tebow could have been if he would have changed
Yeah.
positions. Just that player who can line up anywhere and you don't know what the hell he's going
He's
to
gonna
do,
get hit.
but you know he's going to make an impact. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued. I was not intrigued by this game, but I think this is going to be a really intriguing game, not only for just this week, but also for the rest of the NFL future. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about Drew Brees has been the model of again going back to that word consistency. He has been the model of consistency for the New Orleans Saints team since 2005. We're changing a new guard here. It's time for Brees to move on. After I would, if not this year, I would hedge my bets on the fact that he'll retire next year. But this is the future. I mean, if Taysom Hill really is the next Steve Young, and that's what Sean Payton's been telling us. I mean, New Orleans is gonna be relevant for a long time, man. It'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, big facts. I'm always intrigued with, divisional games, those rivalry games. So I always have Falcons Saints, circled on
Yeah,
my viewership schedule because, the Falcons, they get a lot of they get a lot of flack, whatever the word is. I'm not trying to curse here.
yeah,
Uh, for sure, but they're always a good team. They have pieces. Like today's NFL is basketball on grass. You don't really need
yeah, man.
a great defense. Just need a defense to limit them from how much you can actually score on offense.
Keep you in the game. That's all you
Yeah,
need right now.
yeah, and Matt Ryan and those weapons that he's had for years now. Consistency. Hate to keep saying it, but it's true, right? They're always going to be in games. They're always going to be in games because they can move the ball and they can
Yeah.
score. So I never count out the Falcons. Um, Falcons Saints is always that rivalry game. Even if it was to be like something like the Jaguars versus the Titans. No, not the Titans, the Texans.
Yeah.
That was a good game because it's
Yeah.
a divisional game. It means something to the players. They play them 2 times a year. They're gonna fight. So that game is gonna be electric.
Yeah, man.
That I think that it's not going to be a low scoring affair. They're actually going to score a lot of points this game. I think Taysom Hill does well enough to at least prove people that he's a quarterback, right?
Okay. Okay.
Um, I
Tie hot
think,
take here.
yeah. That's my hot take, man. He's gonna prove people they can actually throw the ball. But I think a lot of the offense is gonna be, Alvin Kamara, spam Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
They're gonna do some of the play action runs for the quarterback. They're gonna do read option, right? They're really gonna flip this, kind of like what New England did with Cam,
yeah,
right? And all the design runs and things like that. Because now the math works, right?
yeah.
Instead of just you know 8 people blocking, they're gonna have all 10. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
And I think you put yourself in a good position because not only have we also seen, like you said, Taysom Hill's lined up at wide receiver, he's lined up at tight end. You could completely confuse the defense. Trot Jameis out there for a few plays,
yep,
a few special packages. Put him at, put Taysom Hill at wide receiver, tight end. Get him involved in that game. That is almost the beauty of what Sean Payton's doing, and it's amazing how consistent he's been and how good he's been because
hmm
I mean, that's just you're completely throwing defenses off. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure Atlanta's thought about that, but there's a difference between thinking about it before the game and actually seeing it in the game. You
yeah,
never know what kind of packages they're going to bring, especially with Jameis can move. Jameis can get out of the pocket,
yeah.
but he can also throw the ball 65 yards down the field. So, yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting game. I'm also looking forward to the two primetime games we got going. The Chiefs going into Vegas to play the Raiders. The
hmm
Raiders beat them earlier in the season, and the Raiders have been good, man. The Raiders have played well. They absolutely decimated my Broncos last week. Here
The
nor there.
Raiders are good. They
Yeah,
are
man.
good, but they have like 10 players sick with COVID, bro. On the
That's true.
defensive end of the ball.
That's
So
true.
I mean, on paper, if an author was to write the trailer for this game, it'd be amazing. I just don't think the execution will be there for the Raiders. I think that Patrick Mahomes just makes a fool out of that defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mahomes gets his revenge back on this game. I think that's going to be a
Man,
really good one, though. I think Gruden's got that team playing really well, man. I mean, they have been when Devontae Booker scoring 2 touchdowns behind Josh Jacobs. I mean, that tells you something that they got pieces there.
oh
And then you
yeah,
look at
not only pieces, but Gruden is he's a culture coach.
yeah, man.
He's a culture coach.
Again, we've been
Like,
talking about culture all episode, but yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing. They haven't been good. You bring him in. They didn't have the best year. Their best.
competitive.
Man, I forget how long he's been there. I want to say 2 to 3 years, but they didn't
hmm
have the best year. And now Derek Carr's looking, back to not back to his MVP status, but he's keeping them in games. He's winning them
Yeah,
games. He's doing good things at the line of scrimmage. He's bailing them out on third down. He's playing really well this year. So that team's playing really good. Then you look at the Monday night game. We got the Los Angeles Rams going to Tampa Bay. I mean, this
that's
has
a good
been
game. That's a
this has
good
been
game.
a really good week of primetime games. You look back at the Thursday night game between Seattle and Arizona.
Great game.
I mean, yeah, really good game.
Dare
Yeah,
I
this
say,
is
dare
this
I
is
say it? I think Cliff Kingsbury needs a nomination for coach of
coach
the
of the
year.
year. Yeah, he's got that team playing. I said at the beginning of the year, I like that. I like Kyler Murray as a dark horse MVP candidate. I think he's been playing lights out, man. I mean, even last week we saw them play Buffalo. Now
Yeah,
that was a hell of a game. I mean,
man,
that throw at the end at DeAndre. I mean, that's got to be one of
magic,
the greatest Hail Marys I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
magic.
that's crazy. One of the best games of the year, if not the best game of the year so far. But this one should be good. The Buccaneers they're still trying to find their way, man. I still don't know what to think about the Buccaneers. I like them coming into the season as my Super Bowl representative for the NFC. That offense is still good. They added in Antonio Brown. He had a pretty good game last week, but man, that defense is just so hit or miss. It just seems like they show up one day and they don't show up the next game. And they got a good challenge here. They're going to be lining up against Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Darnell Henderson. I mean, this is Tyler Higbee. This is a good team in Los Angeles that's kind of been put to the back burner.
Yeah,
They're a little bit
not
behind in the
question, man.
NFC West with the Seahawks and
Yeah,
the Cardinals, but they're still a great team. So I think this is going to be one of those really good games. I think we're going to see a lot of good things from both sides of the ball. I don't know who wins, man. I almost got to give the I think just having Antonio Brown, I think he's finally starting to mesh again with the Bucks. I think they're going to get a really solid win here on Monday night at home.
Yeah, just to go back to your comment about how good the Buccaneers actually is, I've kind of been skeptical about them since the birth of that team. Since you get Tom Brady, like yeah, he, that's a all in team right now. But we see it time and time again when these teams don't live up to expectations.
Yeah.
Like think about Philly when they had that dream team. You
Gosh.
know, then you go to the Browns when they put all those names on one paper, right? And they just find a way to disappoint year in and year out. This is their first year together. It's kind of like when LeBron and the big three came together. It's like that first year they have to learn each other.
Yeah.
Like you just can't put their fantasy numbers on paper and say that's a championship.
Exactly. No.
And it's like I don't know. I'm still not sold. I'm not sold. Like they're a great team. I would hate to play against them, but whenever the Bears can find a way to win against you,
That's true.
you got some problems.
Yeah. This is going to be a statement win for them if they can pull it off. I think this is going to be a, they're finally going to get back on that consistent track of winning some games. I think this if they can pull this one off on Monday night, they might be ready to start making some noise. But there's one game that I'm looking forward to that ties into my hot take here.
Let's do it. Let's
Let's
do it.
do it,
Hold on.
man.
I'm new. Let me do it. Top. your hot take banner, right?
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Now I gotta go search in the back of this and find it.
We'll
Um,
just do, for new fans while you're setting that up, we'll talk about Tommy's hot take. They haven't been very good. Last week I said that all the orange teams were winning the NFL. I went a combined 1 for 3. So, didn't look the best. But this week I think I'm going to get back on the right track. We got a big game. Excuse me, I'm tripping on my words. Got a big game coming up tomorrow, 4:25 Eastern. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be exciting.
Bro, I had it and I lost it. Just go, bro.
Hey,
Just go.
that's
We
fine,
need
man.
Jared back,
Well,
man. Jared, where's
nobody,
that, bro?
man, nobody needs the intro. I'm here. I'm ready. I've been working out a lot recently, and to quench my thirst while I'm working out and after, I need to replenish those carbohydrates, man. I need to get some good fuel in my system. So I turn to Gatorade. It's a thirst quencher. And find it in your local, grocery store, your gas station, whatever you need. This flavor is Cool Blue. We did the colors last week. We're going back to it this week. Think about blue. Big team, big blue, the Indianapolis Colts, coming off
Mm-hmm.
a dominant Thursday night victory to take the lead over the Tennessee Titans in the AFC South. They play host, or excuse me, I think they're going to, no, they do play host, to the Green Bay Packers, coming off a very tough game. They almost lost against the Jacksonville Jaguars and Jake Luton. Man, this is going to be a hell of a game. Indianapolis has played so well recently. Their defense is arguably one of the top 5 defenses in the league, and I really don't hear them talked about that much. Julian Blackmon, this is my biggest thing. When you have Malik Hooker playing free safety, he gets injured, and of the quality of the player of his quality, and Julian Blackmon comes in as a rookie, takes over, and plays even better, and basically is going to force the team to get rid of Malik Hooker. That's how you know you got a stud. Julian Blackmon is one of the best free safeties in the league right now. I'm calling it. He's so good. I think Indy gets the win here, man. That's my hot take. Indy's going to beat the Green Bay Packers for a huge statement win. They're going to announce themselves. Indy is going to be... I called it while I was watching it. I think that Cleveland versus Indy is going to be a really good divisional game. I think we could see that in the playoffs. But I could see Indy making it to the AFC Championship. They got beat out by the Chiefs last year. I think they could do it this year. Man, I really do. I think they can make it into the AFC Championship. I don't know who wins that game, but yeah, Indy's going to get a really good win here. I'm going to say 27-24.
Oh yeah. All bias aside, I actually agree with this hot take. Um, Scary defense, right? But they don't make headlines for some reason. Indy, of course, is probably the deadest part of the United States, well, besides Dakota, and
Bro, I live here.
those non-state states over there.
Oh, that
Um,
hurts my soul, man.
but they're small markets, so of course they're not going to get a lot of recognition. But that's a
Yeah.
really good football team. Um, I
And
agree.
consistency, man. It goes back. You
Yeah,
got Frank Reich. You got man, the GM. I talk about the GM a lot. And his name is escaping me. But Frank Reich has done a fantastic job of building up that team. The fact that T.Y. Hilton is arguably probably their third or fourth receiver because of his injuries so much, that tells you something. I mean,
yeah,
that dude, when he is healthy, he can
yeah.
put on a show. He's not the same T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, exactly. T.Y., man, do the dance. But he's still not as good. But they got Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman absolutely destroyed last week. Naeem Hines is playing out of his mind. When
Pascal's nice too.
when a player, yeah, exactly, Zach Pascal. When you look at their running back tandem in Jonathan Taylor, a player of his quality, is playing as honestly as bad as he's been playing the last few weeks, that tells you something. I mean, that team is stacked from top to bottom. I look forward to this game. It's going to be the America game of the week. I think they got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling it. Man, if you're not tuning, if you don't have any plans at 4:25 tomorrow, go out and watch this game because this is going to
Yeah,
be a really, really good game between two of the best teams in the league.
I agree. I agree. And I don't usually seek out Packer games to watch, but I'm definitely gonna watch
It's
that
that
one.
bias in you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It went too much for my liking.
I bet it hurt you when I brought them up as a team of consistency.
Oh yeah, no, bro. I lived through the Packer era
You got to admit it, man.
all of my life. I
Yeah.
know it is what it is, my God. Like I don't hate on them. Just I don't hate on them and don't think that they're good. I hate on them because they're good. Okay,
Exactly.
there's a difference. There's a difference.
Man, when you get those wins over them, it just feels so much sweeter, man. That was
Yeah.
that was me when we were playing the Patriots with the Manning era, man. When we got those, we lose in the regular season, but we got those sweet, sweet playoff wins.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes it that much better.
For sure. Hey, and that was a poke at Jared, by the way. You can watch this episode, man. We didn't talk about the Patriots all day for a
I
reason.
know. I think, gosh, is it the first time
Actually,
ever
that's
since
not
since
true.
I've been on this show, man? Probably.
That's not true. We actually name dropped the Patriots a lot today.
That's true. We didn't talk about them and try to convince everybody that they're going to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Big
We love you, Jared, though, but I promise you the Patriots will not be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, no matter how much you subconsciously think it.
facts. Big facts, big facts. But I think this episode is coming to a close. I don't
Yeah,
have
man.
much more to say.
We
Where
had a
can the
good
people
one, man.
find you? Where can the people find you, Tommy?
Oh, man. You know, I've been a little quiet on Twitter because last week the Broncos kind of broke my heart, and I think after if he starts next week or if he starts tomorrow, I might have to, and he doesn't perform well, I might have to hop off the Drew Lock train, which hurts my soul because he was one of my favorite drafts, quarterbacks coming out of that draft. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I probably will have some NSFW tweets to go along with the Broncos game tomorrow against the Dolphins. But yeah, you can find me at Tommy Smith 1515. Just pray for me and the Broncos tomorrow, man, because we need it. We need to keep this season alive, man.
For sure, for sure. You can find me on Instagram at Ty_Talk Sports. You can find me on Facebook at Tyrone Stallworth. Just look for this pretty face. Also, some update news. I think I'm gonna go blonde, bro. I think the tips are gonna get Goldilocks
Ooh,
for
I
sure.
like it. I
So,
like it.
so be on the lookout for that. Again, go to Back Sports page. There's great content put up every day by our amazing staff. Web shows are definitely making its move with Back Sports page. So I shamelessly plug them. Shout out to you, Randy.
Heck yeah, man.
But yeah,
We got to throw in a plug for our man Jared. You know,
man,
it stinks that we didn't have him on the show, but Jared, we love you, man. We're glad to excited to have you back on whenever you get the chance to. Everybody go send Jared at journalist J0 on Twitter. Send him your well wishes, man. Tell him that you're excited to have him back on the show, and we're looking forward to it, man. So
yeah,
yeah,
man.
it was a good episode though. I think we handled it pretty well without Jared.
It was pretty good. It
Jared's
was
normally the cog that keeps everything running, though.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I definitely tried my hand at the host thing. Thank you for the fans for putting up with my shenanigans for sure. But Jerry, get back, man. I
Yeah, for
couldn't
sure.
find Tommy's hot take button, bro. We need that
We need the intro, man. It makes it that much better.
for sure, for sure. But that's all we got for y'all. Um, till next week.